One, two, and a one, two, and alrighty. Welcome, guys, there. It is I, Robert Uniski, your lead commentator, and we're here for the last ever GP2 qualifying session. We have reached the end of an era, and alongside me, just like at every other season finale I've done recently, is Joseph Willow. So, hello there, Joe.
Hello, yes, I've just about got my breath back from the last commentary I did, because if anybody's not aware, I just did some commentary for BTCC, which we crowned a new champion in that, Andrei Sazonov, so congratulations. But yes, as per usual, we're here for the finale, and I can't wait for it, because it should be a very, very good title race, especially given it's an end of an era for GP2, as you said.
Absolutely, yeah, indeed. We've got three champions crowned in the last 3 days, of course, with Agatino Bivona first winning in Formula E on the Saturday, and then and later that night we had Roman Quag winning the DTM title, and today we've had Andrei Sazonov win the BTCC title. Tomorrow, it's inevitable somebody will get the title, and yeah, on Wednesday, Franco Lopez might just about win his title. We could have 5 champions in 5 days. Of course, that remains to be seen. We will have 4-4 after tomorrow. That is guaranteed. But if Lopez can win the title in Abu Dhabi, that'll be another thing. But we're here in Brazil a week early to lay down some rubber for the top class drivers, and it's here GP2. The title cannot be won at today's qualifying session. It can definitely be lost. Adam Chobot and Ruslan Protsiuk may lose it. Adam Chobot has a 21 out of 22%, not percent, a 21 out of 22 chance to lose the title. Ruslan Protsiuk has a 1 out of 22 chance to lose the title. What do I mean by that? Simple. If Adam Chobot doesn't take pole, he's out of the championship hunt. He's dropping out of it if he doesn't take his first ever GP2 pole. For Ruslan Protsiuk, all he needs to do to stay in the title fight is make sure Aaron Curtis doesn't take pole, because if the championship leader is on pole, it'll be just a duel between himself and Rahul Patel. At the moment, the two of them are 3 points apart, and it's been one hell of a season, Joe.
It has indeed, and you could say some surprises in the form of Curtis and Patel this season, but we might as well talk about Patel in just a little bit, because something big happened to him last week as a result of his great season.
Yeah, indeed. Well, he did get announced over at Lamborghini. His opposition wasn't exactly the strongest, but doesn't take away from the fact it's a very good achievement. It's had a brilliant season so far, and got his first victory for good measure. Got on the podium a number of times. He's on a podium streak right now, actually, and he could end it all with a title win if he can just beat Curtis by 3 points. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yep, indeed. Well, I think should we get on with the qualifying, Rob? Because I think
Yeah,
your
indeed.
chin
It's
wagged for
time
a
to get
while.
going here. Sorry about the delays, everyone, but that was out of our control. Either way, the last qualifying session of the GP2 era before we move over to F2 is going to be bone dry. So no threat of rain, just 22 drivers, all gunning for the fastest lap they can possibly set. Remember, if Chobot does not take pole, he's out of the championship fight. If Curtis takes pole, Protsiuk, and Chobot as well, of course, are out of the championship fight. If anyone else takes pole, the title fight will go on with just the top three of Curtis, Patel, and Protsiuk. So are you ready then?
Indeed. Yes, indeed. And one more thing we should note out as well. For anybody wondering, this is the old folder that Flo is using for the GP2 session. Obviously, as you may have known if you watched the DTM stream, he was using the new folder, which happened to be a success. But we're using the old folder. But from next season, he'll use the new folder, given that we are having a new era. Because, of course, from next season, brand new cars for GP2, or F2, I should
Yep,
say.
indeed. And touching on that, we've been running these cars right now, 2011 GP2 cars, those Dolores, for just about 10 seasons. And now they're going to go out one last time tomorrow for a true end of an era. But before we get called quits for GP2, we've still got something to settle. Who's going to win? Who's going to be champion? And more immediately, who's going to be on pole today?
It will be fascinating to see as well. Of course, for anybody wondering why we're on so late, of course, it was because Flo had some issues with his electrics, but eventually he got them back, so now we're live.
Pardon me, but this looks like the 2018 or 2019 track version. Obviously, by the Rolex and Heineken logos we got all over the place.
I think it is the version that was used last year, Rob, if I'm not mistaken, the newer version of Brazil. So it's got the different pit lane entrance to what the top class uses. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, probably. Well,
2019
we
is
got a
Flo's just
car
confirmed.
going out on track, and it is the driver of the team who won the championship here, of all places, last season. Team championship, not the drivers. It's MP Motorsport and Mohammed Usman Hamid driving in it. He's had an okay season, nothing particularly fantastic. I guess his biggest moment was at the very first race when he was leading for a long way. He got passed by Luca Farina in the end. And he had a fight with his Perni and Adam Chobot for second, but he was able to hold on to second. And I think that was his best moment of the season so far for Mohammed Usman Hamid. We've still got a race to go in this season, and who knows? Maybe he can come for his first win. What do you think?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, obviously, you remember at one point he was actually a contender for Lamborghini before Rahul Patel's name crept up, really. And obviously, it meant that he wasn't in the seat, because, of course, the Lamborghini will have Patel and Chung next season. But yeah, it's been a decent season for Hamid. I think he would have helped it was a little bit better given the strong start to the season he had. But obviously, work to develop on if he does end up staying in F2 next season. So it should be quite interesting.
Well, we haven't recorded the F2 lineups yet, but I do imagine he will get retained. Now then, it's time for him to begin his first flying lap of the session here at Interlagos. And let's see, it's a relatively short track, but very entertaining one with a hard braking zone to the first corner. Sector 1 is all about medium and high speed corners. He's very fast with the NIS. You gotta throttle as quick as you can. Turn 3 is flat out, and it launches you into this Red Posta section, at the end of which is a hard and a rapid braking zone. You need to brake and then turn immediately. Get back on the floor once again for the Ciudad Lago, and you set a good first sector time. Next up is Ferradura, a corner which is notoriously difficult to pass unless you're Jensen Button. Almost flat in the F1 cars, not exactly flat, but still a challenge in these cars. Next up is Laranja, a downhill right-hander. As we continue to go downhill to Velo, and now up towards the hill to Bica de Pato, where Hamilton and Albon had their infamous collision, of course. Early on the throttle, just make sure you don't get any wheel spin. It can catch you up. As you go downhill through the flat out of Mergulho, take as much curb on exit as you can. As Hamilton said, 58.5. Early on the throttle, auto shoots south course, using all the track and then some. And now all that remains is the foot to the floor, flat out for the last few sections to subir those boxes. And here we go. Mohammed Usman Hamid is just about to finish his lap. The benchmark for everybody to beat, a 1:17.6. Rahul Patel, can he beat that benchmarker time? Yes, he can, by a tenth and a half. What about Luca Farina? He cannot. He goes third and last. Protsi goes on pole. That could be big for him, as Henry Watson now takes it away.
Here comes Alex Broster in the HWA, of course, their last race before being replaced by Van Amersfoort, but he goes sixth with that time. Fifth for Q Lizak. Here comes Adam Chobot. It's important for him to take pole, and he hasn't done so already so far.
Now the P7 and his teammate goes onto the front row, Max Gillen. Then his Graf, who took his first victory here last year, gets onto the front row himself a second there. Aaron Curtis stays in P6, so as it stands, Ruben Protsik will remain in the championship hunt, as Wallinger's just gone second, and Pernin has gone seventh.
Here comes Jersey Frederick Suter. It's been a tricky season for him, but he goes 10th with that time. Burns goes into 5th, so pretty good for the Americans so far. Zorbach 12th, and here comes Quintino in his home race. He goes 11th with that. Here comes the Guan. Across the line, he will go in the Carlin. Only 12th for him, and P7 for his teammate Sinanome. Gave him a healthy bit of slipstream there.
Yeah, indeed. You were touching on Suter earlier. Obviously, he's had a difficult season. But he did win in Portugal, which is a Portuguese-speaking country, one of the only ones alongside Brazil and a few others. And what's the list going purple in the middle sector, but he's going to have to come in, of course. So who knows, maybe Suta could spring a surprise here in Brazil, but nope, nobody knows for sure, really. And either way, it's looking good for Henry Watzler right now. And with Patel in P8, Curtis in P9.
Oh, what's going on there? Yeah, I just realised that was Propsiuk on the side. He's had a crash.
Yeah, it's had a crash there. What on earth happened there? Been an entry bug, perhaps, or something? In any case, I was going to say, if it were to end like this, tomorrow's race, with Patel and Curtis were there right now.
Oh, it's because somebody was right in front of him.
He's dipped under the track and then came back out in it, and lost the car completely there.
Yeah, there's a bit of a weird one there, but it's because the car in front, it was one of the ARTs, was basically in the way there, and he was trying to go side by side, and it's basically launched his car essentially. So
yeah,
the spare car will be needed for Propsiuk, indeed.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Ruslan Prasiuk clearly trying out all the stops to try to salvage his championship bid. Not only he needs to win the race, he needs to win the race with either pole position or the fastest lap. Also for some other circumstances to play out. Meanwhile,
Indeed.
as I was about to say, with Patel in P8 nabbing up 4 points, and Curtis grabbing just the 1 point in P10, if it stays as it is on race day, it will go to a countback, which I hope Patel would win, because he has a victory whereas Curtis does not. though, if these are the finishing positions on the race, Rahul Patel will be champion. Unless, of course, Hussein Protsu can take pole position and the win. If it were to end like this, Protsu could somehow win the title, by just about, because Patel and Kurz wouldn't be scoring a lot. But in any case, Protsu is now on pole right now, and to add insult to injury for Chobot, he is 19 places away from salvaging his championship hopes.
Indeed so, but at the moment Watson currently top, as you mentioned there, but the top three only separated by 68 thousandths of a second, so it is quite close in that top three at the moment.
Dennis Graff has had some brilliant form here over the years. Don't forget, finished second 2 years ago before getting his first victory here, second behind Jay Galloway back then in 2018, and got the victory, of course, here in a dominant fashion last season. Now he's into the top three once again, so Graff clearly enjoying this track.
Indeed so. Well, as Hamid is going back out first again, as we saw a little bit earlier. Now, we talked about the Drivers' Championship being a talking point, but we also have the Teams' Championship up for grabs as well. And it is, I believe, only just 3 teams who are in the fight for that one.
Yeah, but it's a little bit less contested than the Drivers' Championship. Whenever Jersey has a healthy lead, I'm not sure how many points it is, but I'll let you mention that lead.
It's 22 points between themselves and Trident, and then a further somewhat over points out of Carlin. Carlin, I think, basically need a miracle if they want to win the championship. So I think it's realistically between Univirtuosi and Trident, if I was being realistic, which is ironically the team that both Curtis and Patel are driving, respectively.
Yeah, indeed, but the Team's Championship looks like a foregone conclusion. Trident are going to need a lot of points if they want to take it. It's not settled just yet, of course. Trident can still win. It's so can Carlin. But whenever Jersey, you'd have to say have a hand on that trophy. On the driver's title, though, of course, it's all up for grabs between Curtis and Patel, and Pratuk has winning stand.
Indeed, as Hamid just goes around the left-handers, he'll be starting his second flying lap very, very soon. The question is, though, who's going to get the... I will do indeed. Hopefully he doesn't get any traffic. But as we go down then towards the first corner, which is the Senna S, I believe it's called, going into the first corner, no, Curva 1, and then it is the S to Senna, as they call it, or Senna S, as we like to call it as well. Then through the Curva to Seoul of turn number 3. There is some cars on the left-hand side, so hopefully for Hamid's sake he doesn't get held up, and luckily that bit of traffic is far
good.
It's all good for him, so he should get a clean lap. As he approaches the end of the first sector, and he's down on his personal best in the first sector, through into turn 4, which is the Desida de Largo, and turn 5 as well, so both of it kind of that. The Retro Aposta was that back straight we just went through. Then into Ferradora, which is turn 6, and of course, as Rob mentioned, that was where Jensen Button did his overtake through into there. Then into the Essie, as now into Pinarino of the left-hander. You can just lift off the acceleration through into this corner, and you can get away with it pretty easy, but it is a very easy corner to lose the back end at the same time as well. Through into the corner where Hamilton and Albon had their infamous collision back in 2019, the Bika to Pato, then through Magulo, which is this flat-out left-hander, and then into Young Cow, which is this final braking zone on the track, and then the rest of it is flat in towards what will be this flat-out final corner, the Subido to boxes, and I've probably pronounced that bomb, but who cares? Is now
I
into
think
the
you
final
got
corner.
it all right-ish.
Alright, as now down the straight, I don't think Hamid is going to improve, but let's just double check anyway, across the line, and no, he stays where he is at this point in time, which is P11.
I think he's had some time in the last sector there, but definitely not enough to get the improvement he needed. Sonome, meanwhile, is the only car who stayed in the pits, as Patel is getting a healthy dose of slipstream from Joel Larson, actually, Curtis' teammate, but it's not enough for an improvement.
Broster across the line he goes, and Broster stays where he is at this point. Here comes Luca Farina in the ART, and he stays in 18th. Proxy goes faster, so he's going into the 1 minute 16.
Exactly what he needed to do there, as Zorbak is about to begin his lap.
Indeed so, as we now look at Kulizak, who's actually getting some slipstream off of Aaron Curtis in front, and he goes up to 17th. Graf, meanwhile, stays where he is in P4, as here comes Adam Chobot, who's on improvement.
He's the most desperate man in Brazil right now. Let's see if he can put that car on pole and somehow pull off a miracle to win the championship tomorrow. He's only P10 right now. And I'd just like to touch that if things stay as is for the race tomorrow, Ruslan Protsiuk will take the championship in an absolute, quote, housery.
Indeed so, as now we look at Jesus Perinen now then, who's now going to cross the line, and he does not improve. Here comes Santino Andrioli, meanwhile, in the Prema, Across the line he will go, stays where he is. Lorenzo Tomaselli goes into 9th. That's a big improvement there, and that pushes Chobart outside of the top 10. Watzel crosses the line. He can't get back onto the pole and remains in 2nd place. As here comes Bence Valdinger. Across the line he goes. No improvement for him.
Watch
Max
for
Skillen.
Skillen. He's gone third.
Improvement there. As Watterson goes up to 9th, that pushes Perinen outside of the top 10. And so now just slots in behind Patel. Here comes Hoang Minh Nguyen. No improvement for him. Stays in P16 at the moment. A bit of contact there in the
having
pit
a
lane.
close shave there as Burns has just gone up to 5th place.
Proxy once again having trouble with the ARTs going into the pits. So interesting there, it's fair to say.
Well, earlier today in BTCC qualifying, as a matter of fact, we did have some problem between two guys multiple times. Well, now it's pretty much similar, as Suto and Zorbak have both improved, though are still in the lower positions.
Here comes Gabriel Quintino now then, and he does not improve, stays where he is at this point in time, as they're all making their way into the pits this time by.
Yep, that's about right. And we'll be expecting either Henderson Onome or Hamdus Manhamed to be the first one out for the third run, of course. And I have to say, this has flown by rather quickly so far, but it's no big deal. So, Joe, while the cars are in their garages, what do you say we talk a little bit about the track? Because I think it's got a little bit of everything, just like Barcelona, perhaps, but in a little bit different way. Because Sector 1 is all about that medium and high speed, and all those straights, of course. It's the main overtaking opportunity. And we've got the middle sector. We've got medium speed corners, fast corners like Ferradura, which is personally my favorite corner of this entire event to watch. And there's also slow speed corners. I dare say, in the wet, every single corner is an overtaking opportunity here. In the dry, not all of them, but a good chunk of them can be. And you can pull off even into the middle sector just then he got overtaken by Jevin years ago.
Yes, as I think Rob just cut out on my end there, but anyway, I'm not sure if we've got any action, but Protsuk is going out on the track right now. So,
Oh, right.
Are you there now,
As
Rob? Because you
Hamid
were
is
cutting
calling
out
out.
a bit.
Yeah, I was staying silent deliberately because I wanted to hear your reply. Anyway, Hamid's just gone out on track again.
Yep, and he's once again not wasting any time, although, like last time, he'll be hoping there's no traffic on his third flying lap.
Yeah, indeed. Just a little bit of a touch for our provisional pole sitter. For Protsuk to win the title, first of all, Patel and Kurz have to do badly, which they are doing right now. And second, he must win the race tomorrow, but just winning isn't going to be enough. He needs to take either pole position today or fastest lap tomorrow. And if it stays on pole as it is, he might just about be able to pull it off. Of course, there's still 21 other people who want to stop him from getting pole. And I'm sure Curtis and Patel want to stop him more than anyone else.
Indeed, as Hamid now then is about to start his third flying lap, but there's still some more cars coming out of the pit lane as we speak.
Yeah, indeed. So, let's see if Hamid can remain in clean air this time around. As in towards the first corner, we're going to go soon. And Mohamed Usman Hamid begins his third lap of the session. Not even hit the halfway mark, but here we go. Hard on the brakes, going down all the way down to first gear for Hamid. Very big downshifts there. And he's got a decent exit onto Curva do Sol. Now launching himself onto Reta Oposta. He can get some brilliant moves here done in the wet like Verstappen did a while back. As you might have some traffic from, I think that is Wojtek Kulisec. Hamid's first sector was ruined. He may be 300s off his personal best, but he ain't improving unless he can pass that car right here and right now, which is not going to happen.
No, he thought about it though, but it ain't going to happen at this point in time. Protsuk is improving even further.
Purple in the first sector, sorry, for Ruslan Protsuk, and this is looking good for him. I think that is Watzel just in front of him on track, but not enough to give him dirty air. The current front row occupants, of course.
Indeed, let's see if he can keep it up there through the second sector as he now makes his way through this long swooping left-hander and now approaching towards the hairpin now then, as he'll be approaching the end of the second sector quite soon now then. Let's see if he can keep this up now then. Will it be again purple in the middle sector? Let's see as he now approaches that bit, and no, he's lost time in the middle sector.
900s off his personal best and the best overall, of course. I can still find something in S3 as Hamid hasn't found anything. I'm afraid he's way down. Actually, not way down, just the 10th down. But still, doesn't matter how far down you are if you're down. He didn't improve, but what about Protsiuk? He couldn't 2 tenths down as Burns is beginning his lap. We have Hento Nome on his second run. Also to note, Contino stayed in the pits. Mr. Nome, he doesn't improve.
Now we look at Farina now, then, who's still down on his personal best. Farina, it's fair to say these last few races he has been struggling a little bit, and it seems like it has continued here in Brazil. Let's see if he can somehow find a miracle in the last sector, which I highly doubt. And he did actually, but only up into 20th. Graf across the line, no improvement. Patel doesn't improve either, as
Curtis
Curtis
has
just
just started a
behind
lap
him.
behind him.
As Chobot doesn't improve, Nguyen and Suto about to start laps. Here comes Alex Broster, who's up on his personal best. He's currently down in last, 2 seconds off of Ruslan Propsu to be exact. Let's see what Broster can do as he comes down the pit straight. And across the line will go the HWA driver, and he does improve, remains in 22nd. Perinen's on an improvement, he goes up to 7th. That's a big improvement for the Spaniard.
Yeah, indeed. Unfortunately for him, he's knocked his teammate down a place. But if he finishes 9th, he cannot win the championship. He needs to score at least 3 points, and P9 only gives you 2. So if he wants to take the title tomorrow, he needs to finish at least 8th, and depending on where Curtis and Pratsuk finish, of course.
That meanwhile didn't improve as we've got somebody else coming down the pit straight. That's Watzel, who was earlier on pole position, and he improves but stays in second. Carl Burns crosses the
He's
line,
only
stays
found
with him.
300s, as Andrioli goes
Look
into
at
second
that.
stuff now. Amazing.
And Tomaselli as well, up into second place. So a lot of improvements there. As here comes Zor back, across the line he goes, doesn't improve. Watterson doesn't improve either. Farina going back into the pits. We need to look at Curtis, who's up on his personal best,
I
but
think
4
this could
tenths
be a
down on
big one.
Proxy.
Let's see where he can get himself. He doesn't need to be close to Pratyuk, but if he can get in front of Patel, that could be very big news for tomorrow. Let's see what Curtis can do with this lap. He's still in 12, but just 1 position behind Patel.
Yeah, but with Proxy on pole, that's not good news for either of them at the moment. As
Indeed
we
so,
know,
but don't forget, even if Pratyuk is fastest today, he's still going to have to win the race tomorrow. So I'm sure Patel and Curtis can count on somebody else, anyone else, to try to beat Pratyuk while they duke it out themselves.
ignore that flag, by the way, guys. We had that last season here. It's just some of the files have mixed up a little bit. But
Yeah.
anyway, as Graf is now being wheeled back into the garage, and we still have just over 12 minutes left.
What did you think of what I just said earlier, by the way, Joe? About Patel and Curtis hoping that somebody can beat Pratyuk tomorrow to the win.
Well, they're going to have to, aren't they? Because obviously they're the ones in front. But of course, Protsiuk has obviously got that huge mountain to climb. He's essentially got a sort of mountain to climb as what Teravi now Terranon had back in 2015.
Yeah, to climb that mountain, he did.
Yeah, so they can't just rely on the fact that he's an outsider. They've got to deliver it tomorrow. And so far, they're both outside the top 10 at this point in time.
Yep, indeed. Even if Curtis were to finish behind Patel, if he finishes just the 1 place, he will be in front of him, unless that 1 place is second or third, in which case Patel would have the advantage on countback or outright. But at the moment, they need to focus not just on their battle with each other, which is an epic battle, but also their battle with this man, because if he wins with the fastest lap or with pole position, he might just about be able to pull it off. And right now he's got pole position, and would obviously be the favorite for the win tomorrow, as things stand.
Yeah, indeed. So it'll be very interesting to see if that was still the case as Proxy now then makes his way through the long sweeping right-hander as he'll be hoping there's no traffic, as we do feel there is maybe some potential in there for Proxy, because let's not forget on his previous lap he was purple in the first sector but then lost time in the last 2.
Indeed. Don't forget also, Adam Chobot only has just the 1 lap remaining. Once he goes out for that run, it'll be his one and only shot to remain in title contention. If Chobot can't get him that car on pole position, he's out of the title fight. It'll be just down to these 3.
Yes, indeed. But meanwhile,
Chobot
Proxy
has
is
just gone out. Would that be the run of his lifetime? We'll have to wait and see. But now here goes Protsiuk. Don't forget, just winning the race tomorrow isn't going to cut it. He needs to take pole or the fastest lap. So here he goes. Can he hold on to pole is the question. And the answer we'll find it out soon enough.
He goes around the first few turns. There is a car coming out of the pit lane, so I have to wait and see if he's going to get compromised by, I think it's a HWA that's coming out
It's
of the
not
pit.
going to happen. He's all good, I think. Or is he, though? Now, this is actually rather close. Side by side. He's gone purple again, but now he's been forced off of a line And Zorbak has just ruined his chances of improving.
Yeah, I bet he's sticking his middle finger out of the cockpit as a result of that. But that was very close to contact between the pair of them as well. That nearly ended in disaster.
Yeah, indeed. Now I think Protsuk just has to pray he can remain on pole. Like I said, even if he takes the win tomorrow, he will not pass Curse's tally unless he takes the fastest lap. So he needs to pray to Jesus or someone or whatever he believes in that he'll be on pole today. Let's see if he can improve in the middle sector despite that major holdup, which I doubt it. Yeah, he can improve
I
on
don't
that
think
one.
he wants. I don't think I want to play on Perinin, Rob. Let's be honest.
Ha!
Aces Perinin.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed, that's a good one, Joe. That is a good one. Anyway, Pro Succession will be coming to an end. He'll be the first guard to get the checkered flag next to his name. As he crossed the line just about now, he's done everything he needed to do today. But no, he didn't get the checkered flag. What the?
We'll have to wait and see. He might get it when he gets into the pits. We'll have to wait. But anyway, Synonym
Oh
improving
yeah,
well.
because he had some pit issues, of course.
Synonym stays in 10th, meanwhile, but he did improve on his time. Quintino gets up into 14th ahead of Chobot. As here comes Mohamed Usman Hamid. Let's see what he can do in the MP Motorsport. And across the line, we've got the Indonesian driver. No improvement, and he gets a checker flag next to
Where
his
is
name.
Chobot? We need to look at him. It's his last shot to remain in the title fight, and what can he do?
Well,
Patel's next
Patel,
across
look
the
at
line.
Patel.
Watch for him. Patel's gone into
P2!
second.
Look
Absolutely
at that.
massive. As here goes Adam Chobot. The lap to save his championship. Is it gonna be or is it not gonna be? It's not gonna be. Adam Chobot is
He's
out of the
out.
title fight.
There's only 3 left. There's only 3 left in the title fight.
Indeed, as Luca Farina just goes into 18th, he can do much more than that, even if the slipstream for his compatriot. His Bernian is up next, and he can do much either. He can improve on that one.
Stays in 10th. Broster, meanwhile, is on improvement. Across the line he goes, and he loses time in the last sector, stays in last. So another
Curse is
win to
beginning his
Cobra.
last lap as Protsuk is now coming into the pits. He's done well enough for pole, but Patel's mighty lap might be a hindrance for him on race day if he wants to take the title, of course.
Because if it were to stay like that tomorrow, Patel would win the championship, especially with Curtis outside the top 10. Valdinger doesn't improve. Here comes Carl Burns in the Charouse. What can he
Yep.
do? He's currently in where is he? He's he's in
P8.
8th and he stays in 8th. Skilling goes past it.
He's just taken away from Protsuk, and this is a big one.
Watzel doesn't improve. He stays where he is. Here comes Kulazek is on an improvement, and it's only 21st for
Watch
him.
for
Adriel,
Curtis, he's gonna come through soon. As Watson's just getting to third place, putting a car between Patel and P1.
Indeed, as Tomaselli and is I think may have been a little bit impeded there by Farina, as he now just about to finish his lap now. Then
And now I'm bet Ruslan Protsuk will be cursing at Nicholas Zorbak. Because in Sector 1 he was 45 thousandths of a second up. And where did he end up? 43 thousandths behind. So he could have definitely held on to pole if Zorbak didn't impede him. But we have to watch Joseph Frederick Suto. What is he going to do? And Charuz goes up to the 14th. Curtis is still out there. He's the only one. No, he just finished. But he stays in 13th. This is a disaster.
13th for the championship leader. He's going to have it all to do tomorrow. Did he get held up at all, or was that just a poor lap?
Just a bad lap.
A bad lap for Curtis, so he's got it all to do tomorrow.
If Patel finishes P4, as things stand, Curtis will have to finish 5th or 6th, providing he takes the fastest lap.
But we've still got 3 cars left to do a lap. Synonym, Quintino, and Nguyen. They could still try and bring a surprise, as we saw with Skilling.
Well, it's both Carlins, and as you said, Joe, they still have a narrow chance of taking the team's title. And what a good step it would be if they could put on their cars on pole and get those 4 bonus points.
Well, that's the thing. We'll have to wait and see. But Synonym is going out there in the car lane.
Meanwhile, just as Chobot needed, he needed a high-tech to be on pole. Unfortunately for his sake, it's the wrong high-tech. Max Skillen has put it fastest. I think very much Torsten Protsuk should win there. He's deprived him of 4 vital points.
Indeed, as Nguyen is going out onto the racetrack for Carlin, and Nguyen is going to be starting his lap quite soon now. Then this is his last chance to try and get a little bit higher. As we've mentioned, Nguyen has been struggling a lot in qualifying this season.
Reminds me a lot of my own performances in Formula E. Had a good start to the season, but afterwards just dropped off massively in qualifying, and that's all she wrote, really. I sympathize with him. I think we had similar seasons in that regard. But yeah, Nguyen, towards the back end of the season, his qualifying form has let him down. He's always been fast in the races, but just had too many hills to climb.
Indeed so. With this pole, by the way, Skillen would actually lift up into 20th. We're actually putting Zorback down into 21st at the moment. It would stay like this, so he would gain a place at the moment in the championship, but
Do
obviously
correct
not.
me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't this be High-Tech's first ever pole?
Not sure if Chobot got a pole or not.
He didn't.
Trying to. In fact, the Wikipedia page is over here, isn't it? Why was I trying to look elsewhere? Yeah, it would be their first pole. So yeah, if it says like this, High-Tech would take their first pole, but still got 3 cars out, and the Goon has just started his lap.
Yeah, indeed. Let's see what he can pull out of the back here. Nguyen, he won 2 races this season. He dominated Barcelona and took a victory at Hockenheim, of course. And he's up in the first sector by 300 of a second. There's still them down on pole.
Also won at Barcelona as well. He's took 2 wins this season, so he now makes his way up towards the long.
He may be out of the title fight, but he could still go for a 3rd win. And let's see if he can get on that top part of the grid.
He makes his way through these section of corners, the twiddly bit of the circuit.
Had a bit of understeer there, Joe, in towards Clavello there, and no, Pinerino there, sorry. And that's ruined his momentum, I think. Let's see if he can still improve an S2 here.
And he
still can, actually.
So,
harm too much. But if it stays as is, I think he can get himself maybe in front of Curtis. Let's see if he can get himself 13th or maybe 12th for his teammate. I think that's whereabout he'll end up. Let's see as he crosses the line.
And he goes 13th. He gets in front of Curtis. That's another place lost for him. Here comes Synonome. Across the line, he will
not improving on that one. He doesn't. Gabriel Quintino, in front of his home fans, will be last car left to do a lap. And he's found a lot of time in the middle sector. Let's see. He's 3 tenths up. Could put himself maybe on the other edges of the top 10. Let's see where he's going to end up, actually. Could even get himself into P8 if he has a great last sector. Let's see where he'll end up. To end this session, the last ever GP2 qualifying session ends with Gabriel Coutinho 12.
So in the end, Max Skillen is on pole position and takes High-Tech's first ever pole.
Yep, indeed. Ruslan Procuk is in 2nd, and he is denied 4 vital points, meaning he has to win the race tomorrow and take the fastest lap as well. If he wins without it, he won't do him any good. He won't be able to take the title. Procuk, to win the title, needs the win and the fastest lap. But he also needs Rahul Patel to drop down a few places, and Darren Curtis to stay down outside the points.
Indeed so, and I should point out as well, Curtis, because of Quintina's improvement, has dropped another place down to 15th.
Just like Dodo Corby did at the penultimate round in Mugello last season to take the title. Well, he didn't secure the title at 1 race early, but it sure gave him the boost he needed, given that neither he nor Anderson finished the last race. Dodo Corby pulled off a brilliant drive in Mugello to win that race and get himself the points that eventually gave him the title. Aaron Curtis is going to have to do the drive of his life, or pray for bad luck for Patel and Procuk, if he wants to win tomorrow. Don't forget, no matter how badly Curtis does, Patel has to finish in the top 8 to beat him.
Indeed so, as we're going to wait for, obviously, the cars to go back down. Of course, I think Flo would have learned his lesson to not to fast forward when there's AI cars, because it is a bit of a thing with this, as Synonome then will get wheeled back into the garage. And so will Quintino as well. So just wait for the second to tick by, and then we'll head back to the main menu screen.
Yeah, indeed. What do you think of that session, Joe? Because GP2's qualifying, GP2 has had its last qualifying session, I think. It was a good one. All that remains is the race tomorrow.
Indeed so, especially if you look at the top 3, only separated by 75 thousandths of a second, as we get a good view of the crowd who are watching on here at Sao Paulo. We'll see a week before the top class comes here as well, and they'll be hoping that there is a title decider when the top class arrives here, although I think they need quite a lot of luck for that to happen, given that Lopez has got a 43-point cushion ahead of both Carr and Gal, of course.
To keep it simple, if Lopez finishes 5th in Abu Dhabi, he's got a title no matter what the others do. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it gets wrapped up early or not. But Ruslan Procuk, once again, of heartbreak in the last two races. In Laguna Seca, he was on for a great lap, could have matched the front runners, but he got held up in the last few corners, and that cost him for him to start outside the top 10. He couldn't get a lot of points in the race because of that. Now, because Zorbeck impeding him, he didn't get a chance to improve on his lap, and Skillen surpassed that lap and took pole. If Protsiuk took that pole instead, I'm sure he would have been much more uh, relaxed. By the way, it's Max Skillen who's taken pole. 27 points remain available for the taking in tomorrow's race, and Ruslan Protsiuk is 26 points behind Aaron Curtis.
Yep, well, the checkered flag is now out. I think we just got to wait for it to transition over to the menu screen at this point in time. And
Yeah, indeed.
So it should be quite an interesting race, I think.
Absolutely right. There's, of course, the main story of Patel and Curtis, of course, and their battle, but there's also the looming threat of Pratsuk in the background. He's going to have to do the perfect race, win and take the fastest lap, and pray for bad luck for Patel and Curtis if he wants to chance that title. But it's still all to play for. Anything can happen in Grand Prix racing, and it usually does.
Indeed, but there is the grid then for tomorrow's race as a reminder.
Yep, indeed. Max Skillen, his first pole in a while, first pole of the season, and of course Hightech's first ever pole. He's taken it right at the death of things from Ruslan Protsiuk. The Russian, to his chagrin, starts in second. Joel Larson, hoping to do the best he can to help his teammate Aaron Curtis in the championship, starts third, just in front of Rahul Patel. I wonder what Shine will do with Larson. Maybe he'll compromise Patel's race, or he might try, who knows. Tomaselli is in P5, Santino Andreoli, the man who took the fastest lap at Laguna Seca, took those 2 bonus points from Patel's grasp in P6. Henry Watson is in P7 with Ben Svaldigar 8th. Kyle Burns on a very good run of form. He's once again in the top 10 with P9. Dennis Graf, he was good early on in the session, but he couldn't improve later on. He'll still start P10, the last year's race winner. Haspernian is in P11, hoping to the best he can to help Patel, of course.
It's Gabriel Quintino in 12th with Hento Silano in 13th, Hoang Mindigo in 14th, Aaron Curtis in 15th with Joseph Frederick Suto 16th, Adam Chobar out of the championship fight in 17th with Mohamed Usman Ahmed in 18th, Luca Farina 19th, Nicola Zorback 20th with Wojtek Kulazek in 21st and Alex Broster in 22nd and last position.
Yeah, indeed. And just before we end this, Joe, I just wanted to ask if you can remind me, where was it that Udo Kirby started in that amazing Mugello race, which effectively gave him the championship? Wasn't it 15th, just like where Curtis is on the grid for tomorrow?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you.
I know he started towards the back of the pack, but I just wanted to double check. In any case, yeah, uh, Kirby pulled off a miracle at Mugello, which was the last race in which both he and Anderson, in which either he or Anderson scored points, and that miracle gave him the championship. Anchors may lead the standings, but to win it, he's gonna have to pull a similar miracle because Rahul Patel is all the way up into 4th place, and don't forget Pratyuk. Win a fast lap could still give him the title.
Was P15 he started, I just double checked. But yeah, should be an interesting race, but I think that's it for this stream.
Yep, indeed, that's just about it. Sorry about the delays. It was a technical problem, but I hope we don't have any of that next time. We're just about to hit 8 p.m. BST, so that means we have 23 hours until the start of the championship decider. Join us in 23 hours and 1 minute's time because it's going to be an amazing one. It'll be the end of an era, so just you wait. See you guys.
Bye.